And hey everyone, welcome to Soul Sparkle Radio. I'm so excited today for you to join us and also for me to be joined by my sweet friend, Rebecca Matias. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here with you and for all of the viewers.
Yeah, you bet. Well, just a little bit about Rebecca so you guys know how magical she is. She is an intuitive business coach, the author and inspirational speaker who supports passionate, high-achieving women, entrepreneurs, to eliminate the patterns and subconscious beliefs that hold them back. Her desire is to take a fierce, laser-focused approach to helping women create 6- and 7-figure businesses and lives that they love, because she believes that when women are financially empowered, the world changes for the better. Amen, Rebecca. I'm so glad you're doing this work in the world and so glad you're here today.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here with you.
So I'd love to start out, Rebecca, asking our guests, what is the thing that makes your soul sparkle? What lights you up from the inside out?
Yeah, I love this question. I mean, it's so important for entrepreneurs to be in touch with what lights them up. So it's a brilliant first question. And for me, I've always been really passionate about women entrepreneurs and just women in general being basically lit up from the inside out, because that's where true joy and true happiness and true wealth resides. And it's not just about doing the things that are necessary to have more money in your life or to go outside of yourself. And so really cultivating this richness from within. So I've created a school of feminine fortune, and the tagline is live a rich life from the inside out. And my passion has been always to empower women. And after going through a divorce in 2013 and going through a really traumatic experience with that, because I was afraid to take care of myself financially and basically stayed in a dysfunctional relationship for far too long, I realized in hindsight, after the universe stepped in and had its own plan of my next steps, and really it was a welcomed divorce, and I'm happier and healthier and more joyful and rich and free than ever before, is I look back and I realized the thing that I was so afraid of, that being able to take care of myself, because I had never been financially independent before in my life up until that point in 2013, was that when a woman has her own money in the bank, she makes very different decisions. Because during that first year of being a single parent, I actually tripled my income as an entrepreneur and broke into multiple 6 figures.
Oh, I love it. I love the idea that, and it's not that money is the end all be all, but I do echo and agree that there is something about just knowing that you're okay financially that allows you to show up in a different way in the world. And it does provide a level of freedom that you don't have otherwise, a freedom of choice, right? Mm-hmm. So it does so much more possibility when you know that you're okay no matter what, that it is a sweet, sweet freedom. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, you get
so you primarily work
authentic to yourself instead of, like I was saying, like staying in a relationship because I was afraid versus allowing the other to carry me. And the beautiful thing was that leading up until this moment, I was on such a highly accelerated path of personal and spiritual development that it ended up being the richness that I had created within myself to then be mirrored to me on the external once I was free of this toxic relationship.
Yeah, isn't it amazing what happens when you allow yourself to really step into the life that's been waiting for you? It's amazing how people show up, how opportunities show up, how clients show up, whatever conversations, whatever it is, when you really truly give yourself permission to step into that, to the highest version of yourself.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
And then also to surround yourself with people, which it sounds like is what you've done, is surround yourself with people that are supporting your highest and best, and you're eliminating those either toxic relationships or people that are no longer supporting you, which is also brave, but also the best way to reach that next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is certainly one of the things that we talk about in one of the courses that I teach in the School of Feminine Fortune, which is about up-leveling you. And it does take a tremendous amount of courage because we reach these levels of comfort and yet we can feel our soul basically longing for more expansion through us. And it takes a tremendous amount of courage to say and evaluate and be honest with ourselves. Is this relationship really in service to the highest expression of myself? And if the answer is no, then having a conscious conversation with that person in love to be able to send them on their way or to decide how you're going to proceed, whether that's with a mastermind partner, a spiritual life partner, a friend, a family member. I've pretty much been through all of that, and I understand very clearly that the evolution of my soul needs to be honest. You know, I need to be honest with myself in order for the fullest capacity of that evolution. And sometimes it is challenging, and sometimes it is sad, and sometimes it is, you know, mind-boggling how you're going to do this or do that. And the truth of the matter is at the end of the day, it really comes down to the core of you not abandoning yourself and listening to that next guidance piece for you.
Not abandoning yourself. That to me is one of the hugest and most important lessons that a lot of us learn, and some of us learn it sooner than later. But I feel like what a beautiful opportunity to speak your truth, to stand in your truth, and to be really honest about the things that may not be comfortable. Like you said, have those courageous conversations. I mean, that's a really brave thing to do as well. And I think a lot of us put those off until the point where we are not given a choice sometimes, right? So I've been in situations too when I've had the opportunity to speak my truth and I haven't done it. And like you said, the universe then shows up and says, hey, well, we gave you a chance. You didn't take it. So now we're going to do this for you to get you back on the path to your highest and best. So yeah, it's much easier when we're able to recognize those opportunities on our own versus have them given to us. But so it sounds like you have been through quite a journey, quite an evolution. You know, a lot of the things that we talk about in kind of this idea of creating a more magical life, you have been able to create now a life that it feels like you absolutely love, which is a beautiful thing. Was there like a moment for you that you decided you're like, you know, this is not serving me. This life that I have is not what I had in mind. This is not what I've been dreaming of. And I know there's something more. What either happened for you, or what was the process that you took to get kind of from where you were to where you are now, to help people understand that you don't have to stay in those situations. You don't have to stay in those relationships. You don't have to stay in a life that is less than what you desire. Can you share with us a little bit about kind of where you went through that journey?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this in the Up-Leveling You course also, because what we talk about is there's a conscious up-leveling, and then there's this catastrophic up-leveling, if you will, where maybe your soul manifested an experience that, because I do believe we are the creator of everything. And so for me, it was literally being brought up by parents who instilled a mantra. In hindsight, I see this more as a mantra, where it was like, you go to college, you get married, you have kids. You go to college, you get married, you have kids. And so the skipping out on the financial independence part came with this, you know, following what I was told to do. And honestly, in retrospect, I don't see that there was no questioning, right? There was no like, you know, and I mean, sometimes people do question that, but that's basically what I did. I went to college, I got a degree in psychology, I graduated a semester early with a fabulous GPA, and then literally was, you know, had just finished college, and my boyfriend at the time, who is now my ex-husband, my mother was like, we were buying a home together. I think it was 21 or 22, as if you really know a whole lot about yourself at that point in time. And my mother said, you'd better have a ring on your finger when you go to that settlement table. And in hindsight, I realized, you know, as if that's an insurance policy for a happy life or a guaranteed marriage. And I remember there being tons of red flags, and I even said something to my father about, like, you know, I'm homesick, or, you know, what have you. There were, you know, my ex-husband's an alcoholic, and so my dad was like, you don't go drawing lines in the sand. I was brought up Catholic, and so I didn't really see an alternative or an out. It was more like, you know, you get married and you stay married for your entire life, and you give your heart and soul to this person, which I did. And then, of course, we had kids. So I fulfilled the whole prophecy. I went to college, I got married, and then I had 2 children. I at least took a year and a half. I was self-aware enough at age 25, 26 to say, I don't want to go right in from marriage to having kids. So I took like a year and a half thinking, you know, it's probably a good idea for me to get to know this person. And then I have 2 sons who are now 10 and 13. And back in 2007, I literally thought that my life couldn't get any better. It was my youngest son's 1st birthday, my oldest son's 4th birthday, and it was a joyful celebration, and, you know, it was wonderful according to whose definition, and probably my adopted definition at that time, of course, right? And then the next weekend, on Memorial Day weekend, like I've got this Memorial Day weekend thing, symbology thing going on, I found drugs in my ex-husband's car. So A, he was doing drugs, and B, he was lying to me. The following weekend, we went on a family vacation. He had a drunken episode, and I had to pack up my 4-year-old and 1-year-old and drive home with, like, barely able to see out the windshield because I was bawling my eyes so hard, thinking that, you know, my marriage was over or what have you, and came home to parents who were blaming me for, you know, saying, you need to go to marriage therapy. Another revelatory moment where it was like as if I was married to myself. And so my ex-husband had a bumpy road of basically becoming a dry drunk. He never went to through all of the steps in Alcoholics Anonymous. And in some ways that was even more challenging. And what happened through that process, I call that my broken open moment. And I remember sitting in my bedroom at one point and asking myself these hard questions, right? Like, what was the worst thing that he did to you? And I'm adopted, so part of my lessons in this lifetime are to learn about rejection and abandonment. And so the answer that I came up with after much introspection and lots of tears and lots of being sprawled out on the bathroom floor and feeling such incredible isolation was that he had abandoned and rejected me. And the next question that came to me in this moment of revelation and broken open was, where are you abandoning and rejecting yourself, Rebecca? And that was my journey, the beginning of my journey, the broken open moment that led to the beginning of my spiritual and personal development journey back to myself, back to connecting with my authentic self, back to being the loving parent to myself, back to being in integrity with myself, back to trusting myself, which I truly believe that we are born innately with all of these things, and we are taught differently through the conditioned self. And that was my journey of eliminating codependence from my life. And then one day in 2013 is when I woke up with this. I literally have spent almost 18 years of my life being there for an alcoholic who never deserved it. And that he spent almost 18 years of his life not being here for me as a woman, a loving woman who almost always deserved it. And it was just like this light bulb moment. And then the universe stepped in with a very catastrophic situation. And it was clear that the marriage was irreparable. It was over for good. And I had a friend of mine that said, you know what, Rebecca, like, your life is going to be freer and lighter than ever before. You don't have to spend every day arguing. There's going to be more peace for you, and you can put your energy into your children and your business. And you're going to be freer and happier than you've ever been. And that is literally a prophecy that has become true for me. And, you know, there's just complete and total peace in my home. And there's been more abundance that continues to show up, opportunities, experiences, people, you name it. So that's my example of the quote unquote unexpected up leveling. And then there certainly were conscious pieces of up-leveling during that I know that everyone goes through, whether it was expected or not. And I think one of the things that I personally experienced through this was a lot of times you know, we talked about earlier, like, who do you surround yourself with? Sometimes your friends and your people around you fall away. And then sometimes you make a conscious decision that it's not of service to your highest expression of yourself to have that person in your life anymore. And when you go through something like that at such a young age, because I was only 31 at the time, that people around you, because you're being truthful and you're being honest, they almost treat you as if you have a disease and you're contagious. Like, your truth is going to be contagious, and then their little illusion that they are holding about their life might come tumbling down or fall tumbling down because you're being honest and you're saying, like, this, and this. And I think, especially for women, which is why I'm so passionate about women's financial independence, that we don't really live, historically, we haven't really lived in a society that supports women's voices without, you know, killing them or what have you, or shutting them up. And also women's financial independence, because as you and I both know, and we live this out in our lives, where we support, like, I support Allies Against Slavery. I know you support what you just went through with the Nicaragua thing. And when women make money, that's like one of their, you know, second or third things on the list. Like, they might be like starving and go for the pocketbook and the shoes first, but eventually they come back around to the philanthropic work. And I remember when I first became financially independent, I was terrified. I really, truly believed that I couldn't take care of myself financially. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not moving my kids out of my house, and I need at least $10,000 coming in a month in order to continue doing what I'm doing and have the support in my house that I need, because I have zero relationship with anyone in my family. It's literally my 2 boys and myself. So if I need a babysitter, I got to hire someone. If I need help with laundry, I got to hire someone. Everything that I have from a delegation standpoint is hired. And it was funny because one of my older son's mothers said to me, she goes, oh my God, Rebecca, what are you going to do with your house? And I looked at her in my doorway and I said, I'm going to pay the mortgage. But this is the mentality that a lot of women have. And so I really know that my life purpose is to empower women to build that self-trust to the place of unwaveringness. And there's still doubt creeps in there, and to build that level of financial sustainability so that they can always make very powerful decisions that are aligned with their authentic self.
I love it. I love every single word. Thank you for sharing the story, because I think there are so many of us that have lived something similar yet different, right? Just, you know, a similar path. The details are different, but I will say that for me specifically, going through the relationship, the marriage that I was in, that was a big fear for me, to leave and think, I have to start over. I have to begin again. Because my whole practice was closely, my nutrition practice was closely tied into his chiropractic wellness center, and all of, like, I had to completely say goodbye to all of my clients, all financial income, whatever there was, and really start over. But I echo the idea that it was the best decision that I ever made. The best decision that I ever made in my whole life was to start over with nothing and trust myself to be able to begin again. So I love that. That is the work that you're doing with women. Totally agree that part of what we are here on this planet to do right now in this lifetime is to, again, light women up from the inside out, so that way they can do the work that they were born to do, that they can have more than enough. They can have more than enough love, more than enough money, more than enough time, and the opportunity to then do more good work in the world, right? Like, the more of us that are financially in a position to do more, and we have the heart for service, and we have the desire, we have the time and the resources, oh my God, like, that's a beautiful combination of powerful women in the world that can affect massive amounts of change. So it's super exciting to be on this journey with you, for sure. And I love the work that you're doing with the women that you serve. We talk a lot about it in the circle that I have. It's what is the thing that lights you up? What is the work that you feel called to do? How do we create a life that you absolutely love because then from that place, from a place of overflow, is the way that you're going to be able to provide more of anything, more love, more light, more service, more money, whatever. And so I love the work that you're doing. Do you want to share with us a little bit about maybe what that looks like? And I know you have a lot of different programs, but the thing that is really that you're most inspired by right now, and how that kind of works and what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, at this point, I mean, I do private coaching with clients, and other than that, I've poured my entire soul and financial resources and passion after coaching directly with Tony Robbins into what I've created, which is called the School of Feminine Fortune. And I ran an international coaching academy with hundreds and hundreds of women for about a year and a half. I literally put my business to rest for a period of time. And because I have such a passion for studying human behavior, what I was looking at was, why are so little people getting results and the other people are coming out financially broken and perhaps even energetically broken, or adrenal issues or what have you, and feeling like I was so overwhelmed, I need to take time off and all of these different things. And in the meantime, I was also looking for different themes of, you know, what were like the top main 5 complaints or themes that I was hearing from the women that I was coaching and talking to, because I literally, in a year and a half time period, probably spoke to thousands and thousands of women from around the globe. And I uncovered one thing, that it didn't matter about their ethnicity or their geographic location or their path, their career path, none of it. What the number one thing was that there was this belief in not enough, which I believe is a belief that is a chronic issue for all women. And they all have such a huge passion for what I'm calling a feminine fortune, which is really to live a rich life from the inside out. So the other thing that I realized why people were burning out from these online programs is that they're getting too much information, and they're actually getting information that they might not even need. So these programs are pretty universal, where they are giving them information, like maybe they're giving them information on how to do a photography shoot, or how to do a website, or how to identify your target market. And like, some people don't need all of that. So I created the School of Feminine Fortune based upon this concept that women's fastest path to success and happiness is when they get the exact information that they need, that is as unique as they are, and they get it in a consumable format. So the School of Feminine Fortune has 3 different tiers, just like college, where you can choose 2 courses per semester, 3 courses per semester, or 4 courses per semester, for a total of 3 semesters. So it's a 9-month program. They get weekly interaction and laser coaching sessions with me, over 3 hours of direct connection with me. It's capped at 150 women, so the intimate aspect is completely maintained there. And that was another thing that I heard from a lot of people complaining about, where they're like, I paid all this money for this program and I can't even get my question answered, or what have you. So I really looked at all of the different programs that are out there and tried to identify how we could present a program that would literally meet a woman's need in her own unique way. So the woman has the ability to go in each semester and choose the exact courses that she needs, whether that's marketing magnetically, or healthy women in successful relationships, or your own money, the financially empowered woman. We've got another course called You Up Leveling, another course called Sales Mastery for people who are in the program, because it is for women entrepreneurs. For people who are coaches, we have a course called How to Be a Standout Coach. So there's a variety of courses, and there's new courses that are offered each semester. So there's more of a menu to select from in order to customize her experience.
Wonderful. It sounds fantastic. And I think a lot of women do need definitely support, and it's such a variety, right? So we are all different. We all have different experiences and different needs and different desires for what we're calling in, what we want to create. So it feels like what you've created is a really beautiful offering, that no matter where they are in their journey, there's a place. So that feels really lovely.
Yeah.
As we close out our time today, Rebecca, is there anything that you would encourage the listeners to either consider, or any last bits of magic and wisdom to help them create a life of magic and one that they love before we close out today?
Yeah, great question. And also, thank you for allowing me this time to share. And oh, it's just been so rich. And the thing that I would say that I again, because I'm such a passionate person about human behavior and like what works and what doesn't work, and what are the subconscious programs that are running for most people that are preventing them from really living this tremendous life of excellence and fulfillment, that it's always about coming back to yourself and cultivating that daily relationship with yourself. Like, if you don't love yourself, then how can you expect someone else to? So if the world is always mirroring to you how you're treating yourself, or how you're perhaps abandoning yourself, that the real work is literally, God, show me how I can love myself even more today, and then guide me in my actions and in my words and in my steps, in my outward reach of connecting with other people and being an inspiration. And my goal is always to be of massive service wherever I go, whether it's a smile at the grocery store to shift someone's day, or coming on radio shows like yours where there's an actual intentional purpose of this. So ultimately, you can't give away what you don't have. And I think we're in a time period in our lives where that's becoming even more transparent, where people can really tell if you're being genuine and you're walking your talk behind closed doors, which is something that I'm so passionate about.
Oh, me too. Yes. And I would just like to say that having the opportunity of to meet you in real life, and experience you online, I do love just your the alignment and the integrity that I experience when I'm with you and seeing online, because I feel like that's a huge there's a gap, I would say, sometimes with folks.
Yeah.
And so I just want to reflect that back to you and honor that in you, and appreciate the work that you're doing. And again, thank you so much for joining us here today. And to all of our listeners, we'll provide additional information for Rebecca if you feel called to reach out. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to the next episode of Soul Sparkle Radio.
Thank you.